Have you ever paid for super fast internet, but your Wi-Fi still feels slow? Or maybe your connection is perfect in one room but terrible in another. Often it's your Wi-Fi. In this video, we will cover the topic of understanding your Wi-Fi. Whether you're at home, in a hotel, or at work, almost everything connects to Wi-Fi. Years ago, most homes only had a few wireless devices. Today, it's normal to have 20, 30, or even more. But the problem is that all these devices are trying to share the same wireless space. Think that every device is a car. If only few cars are on the road, traffic moves smoothly. But when hundreds of cars try to use the same road, traffic builds up and everything slows down. In this video, we'll look at 3 Wi-Fi bands, why channels matters, what DFS actually does, and how choosing the right setting can make a huge difference. Let's begin from the 3 established Wi-Fi bands, the 2.4, 5, and 6 GHz. We will start from the oldest one, the 2.4 GHz. The 2.4 GHz band has been around for a long time and is still one of the most important Wi-Fi frequencies today. Its biggest strength is range. Compared to 5 and 6 GHz, the signal travels further and does a much better job of passing through walls. That's why if you are at the end of the house, your device often switches to 2.4 GHz. But there is a downside. Almost everyone is using it. Not just your Wi-Fi, but your neighbors too. On top of that, devices like Bluetooth headphones, wireless keyboard, baby monitor, you name it, all share the same space. The more devices using it, the more they have to wait for their turn to transmit. That's why this band is great for coverage, however, it's crowded. The answer lies in something called Wi-Fi channel. Think of this band as a long road. This road is then divided into smaller lanes called channels. Depending on where you live, the 2.4 GHz band has up to 14 channels. At the first, that sounds like playing to your room. But here's the catch. Those channels sit very closely together. Although they have different channel numbers, most of them actually overlap each other. When neighboring networks use overlapping channels, they interfere with each other, creating more congestion and reducing performance. That's why in most cases, network engineers only use channel 1, 6, and 11. These are the only channels that don't overlap with each other, making them the best choice for a stable network. Some routers also offer channel 12 and 13. That's because channel availability depends on country. In US, for example, Wi-Fi regulation allows channels 1 to 11. In most Europe, channel 12 and 13 are also available. Some devices imported from US don't support channel 12 and 13. If your Wi-Fi network is operating on one of those channels, those devices might not even see the network. That's why channel 1, 6, and 11 have become the worldwide standards. You also need to choose how wide that channel should be. Think of it like choosing between a single lane or a double lane on the road. A wider channel can carry more traffic, which means higher speed. The entire 2.4 GHz band is already very small. In a busy environment, using a 40 MHz channel, it creates more interference than extra performance. We will discuss later in the video why a channel width matters as soon as we cover the other bands so that we have better understanding. Things, however, are very different once we move to 5 GHz band, where there is much more wireless space to work with. Think of it like a motorway with lots of extra lanes. Because there is more space, devices have more room to communicate without getting in each other's way. That means faster speed, less interference, better performance. It's perfect for things like 4K streaming, gaming, video call, or downloading a large file, for example. The reason 5 GHz is faster is because it uses a higher frequency. The downside is that higher frequency don't travel as far. They also struggle more with walls, doors, and other obstacles. That's why your phone might use 5 GHz when you're sitting next to a router, but switching to 2.4 when you walk upstairs. The two bands aren't competing to each other, they're just working together. One is for better coverage, one is for better performance. Now, here's something that many people don't know. Not every 5 GHz channel is freely available. Some of them have to be shared with radar system, and that's where DFS comes in. DFS stands for Dynamic Frequency Selection. It sounds complicated, but the idea is actually very simple. Imagine you are driving on a road near an airport, but whenever an aircraft needs to land or take off, safety always comes first. Everyone has to give the way. That's exactly how DFS works. Some channels in this band are shared with important radar systems, such as weather radar or air traffic control. Here's how your Wi-Fi will operate with DFS. Your Wi-Fi must first listen for radar activity before your access point start transmitting. If everything is clear, it starts using that channel. But if radar is detected later, the access point has to move to another channel. It doesn't have a choice. Most of the time users won't even notice, but occasionally the device might briefly disconnect while the access point changes channels. There is another reason why some businesses choose not to use DFS. Not every device supports DFS channel. Some older laptop, smart TV, printer, or IoT device might not even see a Wi-Fi network that using DFS. So while DFS gives you more available channel, it also comes with extra rules. So should you use DFS? The answer depends on where you are. If you are at home with modern device, DFS can be a great option. You'll have access to more channel, which usually means less interference from neighbors. But if you are managing Wi-Fi in a hotel, hospital, or large office, reliability is often more important than having that extra channels. That's why network engineers sticks to standard no DFS channel unless they really need that extra spectrum. Just to keep you in mind that without DFS, you only have a limited number of wide channels. Now that we covered the 2.4 and 5 GHz, let's move on to the 6 GHz. As more device connects to Wi-Fi, even 5 GHz can start becoming crowded. This is where 6 GHz comes in. Introduced with Wi-Fi 6E and expanded further with Wi-Fi 7, the 6 GHz band gives Wi-Fi something that needs, which is more space. The extra space allows Wi-Fi network to use even much wider channel and up to 320 MHz with Wi-Fi 7. Wider channel means more data can travel at the same time. This makes 6 GHz ideal for demanding application. Another big advantage is that 6 GHz does not have the same DFS restriction as the 5 GHz. However, there is a trade-off. Just like 5 GHz, the higher frequency, the shorter the range. Also, all the device cannot use 6 GHz. Your device needs to support Wi-Fi 6E or Wi-Fi 7 to connect. So 6 GHz is not actually replacing the older band. Instead, modern Wi-Fi uses all three: 2.4 for coverage, 5 for balance between range and speed, and 6 for maximum performance. The best Wi-Fi network uses the right band for the right situation. Before we touch the channel width, and we mentioned that the width of the channel can bring speed as well as more interference. We have 40, 80, 160, which utilize more spectrum. So why not always use the biggest channel? Because your Wi-Fi is a shared environment. Imagine you live in a neighborhood with many houses. Every house has its own Wi-Fi router. Now imagine every router decide to use the biggest possible channel. Very quickly, all those wireless signals start to overlapping. Everyone is trying to use the same space, and the result is more interference, more competition, less reliability. This is why professional Wi-Fi design is not just about getting the high speed from one device, it's about making sure everyone gets a good connection. A home with one router and only a few devices may benefit for a wider channel, but a hotel, office, airport has a completely different channel. The goal is not maximum speed for one person. The goal is supporting hundreds or thousands of users at the same time. And that's where smaller channel becomes extremely important. In high density environment, reliability is often more important than maximum speed. Let's give a small recap to better understand this concept. Let's take as an example this picture, where we have 3 access points spread within the house. The 2.4 GHz band is using all possible non-overlapping channel, the 1, the 6, and the 11 channel. In this concept, can we reuse the same channel for nearby access point? The answer is no. When two access points overlap, you should never use the same channel. This will cause much more interference. To have two access points on the same channel, we must be sure that they are not in range to each other. Let's have a look at this picture in an enterprise setup. We have in blue the 2.4 GHz band using all non-overlapping channel. However, you can see how the allocation of a channel is distributed. The access point can reuse the same channel when its range is not conflicting with another nearby access point. You can also note the different configuration compared to the 40 MHz. The representation does not show the signal range of each access point. It shows that when we use a wider channel in the example of a 2.4 GHz, which as we mentioned, it already has a smaller band, the 40 MHz allow us only to use one channel, meaning that we cannot use many close by access points like we show for the 20 MHz section. We are mentioning enterprise side. But then what about your home? In a residential area, you would most likely have many neighboring Wi-Fi, which are interference with your own Wi-Fi. In this scenario, even though you are using a spectrum analyzer to check the cleanest channel, it will not be recommended, as over time neighboring Wi-Fi can potentially move to a different channel, which turns your selected channel the worst. In this situation, I would suggest keeping the channel selection to auto so that it can move to a better channel automatically. However, if you live in a more isolated area, channel selection could be a possibility to explore, especially if you have multiple access points. Also, it's good to know that the device can save battery when using a smaller channel width. This is beneficial when you want to maximize the longevity of the battery while still providing the right amount of connection you need. In the next video, we will look at practical Wi-Fi setting. We will dive down using a UNII access point as an example, and we will explore features like band steering, transmit power, RSSI setting, client roaming, sticky client, and we will explain how this setting can improve coverage stability and overall user experience.